We're going to now talk about Elissa Haymen, and her first job as a psychic was for Bob Dylan's Rolling Thunder Review in 1976. Elissa Haymen's second job was a tarot reader at the bottom of the Cup Tea Room on Royal Street, New Orleans. In 1976, she arranged for late Reverend James, an exceptional healer, to work with her, and a third-time, full-time professional psychic she became, and counselor and healer in San Francisco, in California, and that was in about 1979. And on her third job now, she's based in Santa Fe, New Mexico, writing a monthly online psychic newsletter with predictions. Hey, Elissa, how you doing?
I'm doing just great. How about yourself?
Doing great. What's going on today?
Today,
in your life?
There are blue skies in Santa Fe, and that's a very big deal because we've been surrounded by fire, and so it's a great day in Santa Fe.
Oh, that's right. You have been.
Yeah, it seems to be over. It rained. There are people dancing on the plaza. And a very interesting phenomenon that I noticed while that was going on was that the one thing that is left over from really ancient times is that nobody feels funny about saying they're praying for rain. Every single person got out and made a yell when they saw the rain coming and danced around. It makes people go back to the very essential relationship they have with nature when something gets disturbed, like it got disturbed here. And then people's nature comes out, and everyone is just fine with people doing rain dances, praying for rain, saying, I hope it rains.
Right, you know, and isn't that something that's been around since the beginning of man, you know?
Yes,
I mean,
right.
My father used to be a history teacher, and he was always there was a certain book called American History or something. I forget what it was, but they would have amazing pictures, and some of them would be of cavemen dancing in the rain, and other would be bare-breasted Egyptian women riding the bulls, and and it was like quite erotic when I was growing up. But hey, enough of me. What's going on then with your writing at this time?
Well, I write regularly because I have a monthly newsletter, an online newsletter. It's free. It's a client newsletter, but everybody, anyone who is interested reads it. And what I'm doing now, though, my focus has changed very recently, and I'm beginning to write what are called evergreen articles, and that's because I had a very unique metaphysical training. I had a very long one, and it was complex, with a really brilliant teacher. And he never recorded what it is that he learned, really, and his whole knowledge base. And I've never done mine either. But I want to write pieces about divination, about channeling, about specific tools like the tarot, about ancient Greece and different things that I know about, and just make that information accessible. And the other thing is that people more and more are really wanting specific directions and instructions about how to get in touch with their own intuition. I have two creative visualizations. They're like guided meditation that are on my website on the intuition page. And I'm going to add another one because in order for people to know the truth comes on an easy breath, on a rhythm where somebody is relaxed, where they can accept the truth, accept what it is they receive. And so being able to breathe comfortably and easily as a prelude to getting information psychically is important. And I'm going to put a guided meditation up for that also. But I used to, on the radio years ago, do a lot of guided meditation. It was kind of like recess. People would tune in and take a little vacation in their mind. They're only a couple of minutes long. But they're very useful for getting people into altered states and getting them receptive to their own inner guidance.
Well, the obvious question I have is tell me how you got involved with the Rolling Thunder Bob Dylan show or program.
Oh, well, how I got involved in that, it was a tremendous challenge. When I was 25, a series of events happened, and I felt as if I had lost my spirit. I did not know where I belonged. It was a very odd sensation. And what occurred to me is the only thing that would help me locate my spirit was my intuition, and I must follow it no matter what. And I read Tarot at the time, although I was beginning, and I did a Tarot reading, and it led me to take this midnight flight to Fort Worth, Texas. And I did that. It was a tremendous stretch. It was very scary, but I felt that it was the right thing to do. And in the morning, sitting on a curb, I heard a guitar in the background. It was Bob Dylan, and he came out, and we began talking. And he was on a tour, the Rolling Thunder Review, and asked me if I'd go with him. And I was very hesitant at first. He's a very funny guy and made fun of me because I said I needed to wait for an omen. And like a dog would go by
it
the
wouldn't
room
take
and
an
say,
omen
that omen enough?
and
then
that
he got
time to
tired
make
of me and my
Negro and
omens.
travel with Bob Dylan.
Pardon?
It wouldn't have taken an omen for me. Just Bob Dylan by himself would have been the omen.
Yeah, well, going off with somebody that you'd only known for a few minutes is got a risk factor to it. So at any rate, finally we just set off in his big RV that he was driving, and then I went with him. So at any rate, what the lesson was about meeting somebody like that, and all the people that were involved with that, Allen Ginsberg, Joan Baez, so many people were on that trip. Joni Mitchell.
Yes, all those original. They were almost. Would you call them still beatniks? Almost.
Yes, they were disciplined, wild artists, and they showed anybody around what it took to have a magical life and make it. And that was the big lesson for me, that these people absolutely lived their own lives. They were unique, and they had figured out how to make a life out of it, and so could I, because there I was with them. And I understood that.
Did you meet Joan Baez then?
Oh, yeah, we traveled together for as long as I stayed until the end of the tour.
And what was Joan Baez like?
Well, I think what people were like a long time ago is not really relevant to what they're like now. They were all people that had tremendous. They were like queens and kings. They had their own energy field, like lots of people do that are in that position. Another person, Jimmy Vaughn's brother, Stevie Vaughan. He had his own energy field around him. Yeah, he was a very magical kind of person. So these people that become legendary, Muddy Waters, all these people, their aura is different. And I feel like how royalty even gets started is that there are people like this. And then a hierarchy gets built up around them. They have a different color aura. I've seen both Buckminster Fuller and Bob Dylan have a tremendously purple, an unusual purple color aura, energy field.
Wouldn't that be
yes?
That would be of the intuitive chakra or the...
It's knowledge. It's knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge.
It's a tremendous investment in knowledge, whether that arcane knowledge is coming from past lives or it's what they've accrued, or a combination of it creates a very unusual force field. But it's interesting that only royalty a long time ago could wear purple. They understood it had a certain vibration to it. It was only
so a lot of these people naturally just wore the color purple. They wore, and even the then I have to think about my other favorite
James Brown
movie,
was
which
like
is
that
the color.
also. He might have been a singer, but he had a tremendous effect on people, and he was like a natural king. It didn't matter where he was born and into what social status, he rose above it. And so it was, yeah.
Yeah, and so in the meantime, you're reading for these people.
Yes.
And then,
if only if they wanted to. Bob Dylan certainly wanted to, but many people on that tour. And the interesting thing about Bob Dylan was a big lesson about just an artistic life in general, and that is, he said, you can't just come with me. You've got to do something. And it was clear already, because the first thing I did was give him a palm reading. And on the strength of that, we proceeded. But at any rate, and so I was the official psychic. And reader on the tour. However, it was such an interesting tour. There was an astrologer also on the tour, a man, and he carried with him this, literally like a ton of ephemeruses, because people at all different ages, and he was doing their charts. So it was a very fun, full of interesting people and artifacts. They had their own little newsletter, the tour did, and it would be put under your door at the hotel in the morning. People were just very creative people.
That sounds amazing, and that's an amazing experience that very few will ever have. And then you went and continued to work in the Bottom of the Cup Tea House in San Francisco. Is that correct?
No, I met a very unique man, Reverend James, and when he deemed I was ready to work professionally, he set me up in New Orleans, and I worked for the brief time I was in New Orleans, just while I was there, Jazz Fest, and then I continued my apprenticeship with my teacher, and then in 1979, when I felt completely ready, I took out an ad, and when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and when one is ready to work, I believe the work appears. And I was able to just put an ad in something called Common Ground at the time, or the Bay Area paper, and that was it. I was able to support myself from then on.
Sounds awesome.
But I had a very long preparation for that.
Well, I want to let everybody know that today's reader is Elissa Haymen, and I'm Anne Marie, and I've been a Master Tarot reader since 1970. Elissa, you've been around and doing this since that at least. I guess you're going to have two very old-style professional readers here today for you. The number to call in for 2 readings per call is 888-235-6955.